Hello, and welcome to another Flosstube. I am a little bit early this time, just a couple of days, but my schedule for next week with the Christmas is going to be a little bit complicated, so I thought it'd be better to just do a video a couple days early. And so the plan for today is I'm going to do a WIP update. In order to do an end of year WIP parade, I literally need to show 2 more projects. So I'll show the 2 extra projects after that. We'll talk about 2025 plans, and then I'll do a quick summary of the Jingle Ball 2024, which I was able to attend. I'm leaving that to the last because I know that sometimes if I can't go to an event, I don't want to hear somebody else talking about it. Especially if I really wanted to go. So if you're not interested in that at the end of the video, you can sign off before I get to that part. But hopefully you'll stick around because I had a lot of fun. Preview. So let's start with my WIPs. I've had quite a few new starts this month, or since I did my last video. And the first 2 new starts are these right here. These are custom pet portraits done by Luthien Art Shop, and this is my Olive, and this is my Pimmy, and they're coming out really good. I don't have any previous pictures, obviously, since they're new starts. So let me pull those out. Okay, so here is my Olive, and she is coming out so good. I think yeah, the rendering of her face is coming out beautiful. And I've got the start of an ear here and a start of an ear here. She's got one ear that kind of stays up and then one that flops over. That's why they look a little bit different. I'm already at the edge of her face on this side. I'm working on the edge of her face here. Her little mouth I put in last night. And yeah, and then there's going to be the pink filling around and then the frame. So I think probably once I get her face done, I'll probably get the frame put in and then I'll do the fill in colors, is my plan. So that's Olive. Now this is my focus on a finished piece. So typically the way I've been working the last few months is I'll have one piece that I focus on to finish. So most of my stitching goes into that piece, and then I have other pieces that are being gamified. I'm doing the Gents Monopoly Sal and all that. So let me show you that. And this is my Pimento, or Pimi, or Pimentito when she's in trouble. So we just got the start of her little snoot. Oh, you can see Olive a little bit through. Let's get rid of that. But her little snoot, I got one nostril filled in. I got to fill in the other one. And this one is my duck token. Not the duck token, excuse me, the dog token on Jen's Monopoly Sal. So Jen, the caffeinated crafter, Jen, the caffeinated crafter, she does a Monopoly game, and so she's got 4 tokens, and she just restarted her play. Not that you can't join at any moment, but she just restarted her game for. She's essentially started 2025, and so this is my dog token. And so right now it's pretty easy because it's only about 100 stitches a week, at least last time it was. And so yeah, it's been going pretty good. And she has changed her stitch count from when she was first playing the first round of Monopoly. So we'll see if I have to make changes. I have started a new job and I'm not 100% completely on my what's going to be my regular schedule yet. So I don't know if I'll have to make changes to my stitching at all, but this is the dog token and there's 3 other tokens. So as far as percentages go, on Pimmy, I've done, as of today, which is the 18th of December, 2024, I've done 2.6%, 2.66% on Pimmy, and on Olive, I've gotten a lot more done, and I'm at 15.6%. So, yeah, making lots of progress. I decided to do a center start, one, because it's a round piece, so it made sense, and two, this cut of fabric is kind of exact. It's got just enough margin on each side. In fact, I think I try to add 3 inches on each side, and I think one of the sides actually has 2.5 inches. So, or rather, it was 5 inches total instead of 6. So it's going to be 2.5 on each side, on whichever side I forget. So I just wanted to do a center start. That way, I was sure that I would be doing okay. And honestly, it makes sense if you go back and look at the pattern. Just trying to keep the glare off the screen. Starting in the center and then going out just makes sense. So, yeah, gotten a pretty good way done there. And the nice thing is, this is the most complicated part. The frame and everything is going to be much easier. And probably this part was like the most confetti, just because of her coloring. Olive's got a lot of brindle, and I think when I get to it, probably Pimmy's snoot is also going to be a bit of confetti, but not as bad. Olive's was pretty confetti heavy, but again, it makes sense for her coloring. So, all right, let's move on to the next piece. All right, my next piece is Hoity Toity by Long Dog Samplers. Got a little something on there. And this is what the original pattern looks like. And I'm doing the Jan Hicks color conversion. So this is what it looks like with the color conversion, a lot more candy colors. And this is where I was at last time. And let's just, I guess, zoom in a little bit here. This is where I was last time. And this is where I'm at now. So, in case you did not watch my last episode, I had an issue with one of my other projects where I was doing the frame, and when I got back around to doing joining the frame at the end, it wouldn't join up because there was an error here. And I had been taking the same approach with this piece, where I was trying to do the frame first in this dark color. It's 310 in the original, and it's 939 in the color conversion. And so I had planned on doing that, and then once that happened with the other project, I decided, okay, this piece is far larger. I don't want to be off by a stitch or two, which is how much I was off by on that piece. When I get all the way around and then get back up to the end here, so I decided I'm going to start doing typewriter method, and so that's what I've been kind of doing. I've been moving my hoop, and then I've been doing about an inch and a half or so, and then moving my hoop and so on. So let's see where I'm at. By the way, this fabric is 36 count flax linen, and I'm doing 2/2 full cross. And one thing I've found, oh, by the way, as of today, I'm 7.46% complete with this project. And this is part of my Gents Monopoly Sal. This is the duck token on this piece. And one thing I realized while I was working on this piece and while I was working on Miss Olive was that I really like 2/2 for full coverage. And so I've tried so many times. Let me see if I can find an example. I've tried so many times in the past to do over 1. Like, I think this is 1/1. This is 1/1. And I've got a piece that I've actually UFO'd that is a that is a 1/1 as well. And yeah, the reason I've UFO'd them, I did not realize why at the time, but I did not like working on them, and then I've come to realize that's why. I like over 2. in full coverage. And so it doesn't matter if it's linen or it doesn't matter if it's even I like over 2. And so I've actually rekitted a couple of things that I'm going to be starting later to be over 2. So I've had to buy a much larger piece of fabric, etc. So anyway, this is hoity toity. This is where I'm at. And let's move on to the next one. All right, the next piece I'm doing is Cozy Cafe by Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery. This is what it's going to look like when it's finished. And this is where I was at last time you saw it. And this is where I'm at now. So I've gotten my November cup finished. This is my December cup. Now, what that means is this is a stitch it along that I'm doing with my friend Jen. Not the same as Jen the caffeinated crafter. The different Jen. This is my friend Jen. She and I are both doing this piece. She actually kitted this up for me, and we are basically doing 1 cup per month, and then the extras like the frames and all that I'm just doing whenever. Now this is also part of my Jen's Monopoly Sal, and this is the penguin token. And as of today, I am 25.22% complete on this. And I know that she and I talked about possibly doing more than 1 cup a month starting in 2025. We may have to revisit that, especially with the new job and everything. I don't know if I'm going to be able to keep up with that. By the way, this fabric is 14 count Ada. Light basalt is the name of this dye job. And yeah, and it's 2/2 full cross is what I'm doing. And these have all been DMC, by the way. Unless I say it's something different, it's going to be DMC. So yeah, really enjoying this one. And there will be beads on this eventually. I'm trying to do all the back stitching as I finish the cups. There was no back stitching on the cup itself on this one. There was on this one. But yeah, anything like that. So as I finish, I'm going to do the back stitching. But the beads I'm going to do at the end because those, I don't want to use the embroidery hoop and potentially crush beads. So yeah. All right, let's move on to the next one. Okay, so this is another new start. This is Turtle Quaker by Owl Forest Embroidery. And I believe I purchased the kit on this one. And so I'm using Antique White Lugana 32 count. And it's Classic Colorworks floss. And the Classic Colorworks floss, this kit was purchased back in 2021, so I don't know if things have changed or not, but I will tell you, this is making me miss my DMC. The pattern is beautiful. I am absolutely loving working on this. I love the kind of the symmetrical pattern aspect. There's obviously going to be bits where it's going to stop being symmetrical, but the stitch is so enjoyable because of all the symmetry and the designs and everything. The floss is a little bit frustrating. It frays a lot easier. It tangles a lot easier. And I know it's cool to hate on DMC, but I love DMC. So, and this is also part of the Jen's Monopoly stitch along, and that this is my cat token. And as of today, I am 7.19% finished on this one. And actually, let me show you the, since this is the only one I have fancy floss in, let me show you. This was, I believe, part of the kit. And this is from back when I was still bobbinating. I bobbinated all the colors. So there's going to be 5 colors. Let's do this. 5 colors. This is the one I've been stitching with. And there's going to be these other 4 colors as well. And these are not DMC numbers. They're the Classic Colorworks numbers. Or actually, no, I'm sorry. I believe... I don't know. I think these are the DMC numbers, but these must be the Classic Colorworks equivalents. I don't know. I don't remember. This was back in 2021. I don't remember what I did. So anyway, like I said, one, it's turtles, and considering the name of my channel and my great love for turtles, it just made sense that I do it. And two, I really enjoy the pattern. So, all right, let's move on to the next one. All right, the next one is a huge honker of a project, and it's also a new start. This is actually a new start that I started during Jingle Ball. So this is called Melody of the Night. This is by it's Heaven and Earth Design. The artist is Leonid uh, um, Afromov, I believe. I don't know, something like that. But I think this is pretty recognizable. And I actually had to, because I converted everything over to 2/2. The piece of fabric I'm working on is ginormous. This is a normal size. This is not a super size, but this is still a full yard of fabric. And I actually had to buy a special bag to hold all the floss. This is not even the floss. This is just all the colors or my color palettes. And then I've got additional floss. But I had to buy this bag from Just Crossing Stitches. This is an early Christmas gift. And it's got turtles on it. They're shiny. I don't know if you can tell. There's shiny paint on the fabric. It's such a beautiful, and Just Crossing Stitches, I think, is my favorite bag maker. These bags are a little bit different than the ones I bought back in 2021. They're a little bit less cushy. Like the original ones are quite cushiony. The originals that I have, anyway. The vinyl is still nice and thick, and then she's got these cute wooden charms on the zipper pull. But yeah, this part is just not quite as, like, I think she is using thinner batting. It's fine. Functionally, it's great, and it's able to hold this giant project. And this is the new method I'm using now, by the way, is I'm probably going to braid these, but I've started using these floss palettes or floss cards, whatever they're called. And I love this so much. This is such a time saver. Now, all of the projects that have bobbins or any other form of thread management, it's like, oh, they feel so slow because this is so fast. You literally pick up a palette, grab my one piece, and then I'm already, doing my needle. I don't have to bobbinate the rest of the thread back on the bobbin or anything else. I don't have to search on my Floss Away Bags ring for the color. It's this is just so much better. Yeah, like I said, the only thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna probably braid these for next time. So that'll be easier to manage. Supposedly, you can still pull thread exactly the same way as long as you don't braid them too tightly. So that's all my floss, or not all of it, but all the colors anyway. And here's the project. This is where my new start is. And like I said, it's a just I think 4.5 inches down from the top and about 8 inches over from the side. That's how big this piece is going to be on a full yard of fabric. In fact, I'm actually going to, instead of working like diagonals or anything like that, what I'm trying to do is work down the first column, because I think I calculated everything right, but working this giant of a piece, I'm a little bit nervous that I did not count correctly or did my math correctly. So I'm going to go all the way down to make sure that, since this is the tighter margin, make sure that I have enough fabric. And if I need to crop something or whatever, I'd rather find that out sooner rather than later. And probably after I do that, I'll start going this way. Once I've gone down. I'll start going this way just to make sure I've got enough margin on the other side as well. That's the plan. This fabric, by the way, is 32 count platinum Lugana. I'm doing 2/2 full cross, obviously. And I'm a mere 0.3% complete on this. I might try to get it to 1% done before uh, in 2024, essentially, because I think I'm 2,000 stitches or so short on getting this to 1%. It's a little aggressive considering all the plans we've got and all that activity that's happening for the rest of the year, but I'm gonna give it a try because I also have a little bit of time off work. Well, I'm working extra time on some days and not working at all on other days that I should be working on. Anyway, so gonna make the attempt. Now, this is not part of any game or anything like that. This was just a new start that I decided to start on Jingle Ball. So essentially, what I do is when Jen's Monopoly count for the week comes in, typically on Thursday or Friday, I focus on those pieces and I get my stitches done on those. And then the rest of the time, I basically stitch on Olive. If I get tired of working on Olive, or I'm not at Jingle Ball, that was the other time I was working on this piece. If I get tired of working on Olive, I've finished my Monopoly stitches, I'm not at Jingle Ball, then I'm working on this piece. And that's seems to be working out pretty okay. And I'll explain a little bit more once we move on to the next section, or 2025 plans. I'll discuss a little bit more about what the plans are for this piece, since it's not on any game or focus, etc. Okay. This is the next piece. This is technically not a start yet, but it will be before my next video. This is Roses by Vincent van Gogh, part of the Heaven and Earth Design 2025 Stitch Along. Yes, I joined. I think it's, I don't know. It I was sassing Jen the caffeinated crafter, about, because she's her videos, she's been complaining about the 2024 Heaven and Earth Stitch Along, and so there was a brief moment in one of her videos when the 2025 Stitch Along was introduced, that she was like, "Oh, I'm gonna join. I'm gonna work on this, blah blah blah." And I sassed her along with a lot of other people. I sassed her on her comments, like, "Girl, what you doing? What you doing?" I guess it's just karma. It's my comeuppance, because yeah, I I kept looking at it. I was like, none of the pictures really interest me except for this one, and I have wanted to start a Vincent van Gogh piece, but I did not want to do Starry Night because I've done that in diamond painting, and so I just didn't feel like it. And then I don't know. Just one day I was looking at it and I was like, wait a minute, I love this piece and I should do this. And so, yep, I've got it kitted up and ready to go for when the pattern comes out at the January 1st, possibly the December 31st. And it's going to be 2/1. This is Ada. It's ivory Ada. It's a fat half of a yard, and that should be big enough. And I don't know. Do you say over one when it comes to Ada? Because I mean, I guess it's over one hole, but it's not over one thread. So I don't know. This is Ada. I'm doing 2 strands, and so yep, that's the plan with this guy. And let's just have a look at my 2 UFOs, and then we'll move on to 2025 plans. Okay, so my first UFO, I've shown this before. This is my Lord is my Shepherd piece from Fox and Rabbit. It's a free pattern on their site. This, forget even like the frames not matching up, which I know it looks like it's matching up. That's because there's I tried to make it work with trying to make it mesh, and then I just couldn't, and I wasn't happy with what was going on here. But this is 1 stitch down, and it's because I messed up over here, this by making it 1 stitch down instead of 1 stitch up. Anyway, at least that's the only mistake I found. There might be other mistakes, but yeah, there have been issues with the pattern. It's a free pattern, so I can't complain, but there were other issues with the pattern, and this piece has been a bit of a trial. So it's been UFO'd for now. This is raw Belfast linen, 32 count, and I was doing over 2, and yeah, it's been so I don't know if I'll revisit this. I don't know if this will ever come out of the UFO stage, and I don't know. But for now, this is definitely in timeout at minimum, if not permanently abandoned. So that's first UFO. Let's go to the next one. All right, my next UFO is this guy. It was an active WIP as of last video, but this is the B kit from Gecko Rouge, and this is where I'm at with it. And I decided I was just done with it. I don't like the over one full coverage. Honestly, I just don't like over one, I think, unless it's Ada. Again, I don't know if Ada counts as over one, the same as like Linen or Lugana, or even Weave, rather. But yeah, this is another UFO. I've got the full kit, I've got everything, but goodness, just working on this is tiresome. It's not enjoyable, so I've UFO'd it for now, and I just had a very evil thought. Oh, and I know why I had the thought, because I sassed Jen about it. Previous video, so she's got her Monopoly board, right? And she's got all these projects assigned to each space on the board, and she's got a piece assigned to her jail spot, and it's one that she does not like working on. Like, she likes the piece itself, but she does not like working on it. And I was sassing her about it. I was like, well, the more people who go, more tokens that land on jail, the more you have to work on this piece that you don't like working on, and the faster it'll get done, and then you'll never have to work on it again. And I'm thinking maybe that's what I should do whenever, even though I've got, mine is different where I don't have a project assigned to each space. Perhaps I have a project assigned to each the jail piece. So I've got one for each token. So whatever their total stitch is, I don't care where they land and whatnot. Whatever their total stitch for the week is, that's stitch count for the week is. That's how many stitches I do on their project. Um, but if one of them lands in jail, maybe I should be working on one of my UFOs, because it's a jail piece and it's not meant to be. Oh my god. Why am I thinking this? It's because I sassed Jen, and the moral of the story is don't sass Jen. Because, oh my god. Oh, I'm gonna have to stew on that. Because I do like this same as Jen. I like this piece. I think it's beautiful. And it's stitching up beautifully. I just don't like working on it. And it's, especially that area, it's heavy confetti. Well, it's all kind of heavy confetti, even. Ugh, oh my goodness. I'm gonna have to think about that. You'll find out in the next video if I decided to stick to that or not. Okay, so that's my WIP parade. It's basically because everything else I finished. I'm a process stitcher, but I also like to finish things. So I don't know. I guess I'm both. I don't try to rush the process, is what I'm saying. Just for the sake of a finish. All right, let's move on to 2025 plans. Okay, let's talk about 2025. So my first major goal for 2025 is to finish 5 pieces for 2025. Finish 5 for 2025 is what I'm calling it. And it's a little bit ambitious because this year was the first time ever that I finished any cross stitch. Now, granted, I started with working on very large pieces. So I finished a small piece. I think it was under 2,000 stitches. And I finished a really big piece, my Fruits of Plenty, and that's at the framers still. I finished that. That one was the Modern Folk Embroidery Stitch Along from 2021. Granted, I did not work on it in 2022 and 2023 and most of 2024, but once I picked it up again, I did finish it. And so 2 finishes in 1 year. Granted, I picked up stitching a little, not at the beginning of 2024. So 5 is still a little bit ambitious, especially considering the size of the projects. None of them are truly small. This Turtle Quaker is probably the smallest in terms of number of stitches. But I think I want to try to finish 5. So the first one is, of course, my Olive. I want to finish both Olive and Pimmy next year, I think. And I think this is doable. I think, especially since considering how much I've been able to get done on them this year, going into 2025, I think it's doable to finish Olive and Pimmy. And so that's definitely a goal, or a definite hard goal. Um, the Cozy Cafe is the next goal, since I'm doing the stitch along with my friend Jen. And we're doing 1 cup a month. It's a pretty easy schedule to keep up with. So, yeah, we'll be going into next year, 2025, with 7 cups remaining, and the frame and the beading. And so, yeah, I think like third quarter next year, this should be finished. And the Turtle Quaker, honestly, is quite small. It's under 15, I want to say it's like 11,000 stitches. It's quite small. It is a little complex to work on because of the pattern and all that. If you make the slightest bit of error, you have to pull a whole bunch out because it's very symmetrical, so you can't really fudge it. It needs to be precise. And I have had to pull out a couple of times because I've messed up 1 or 2 stitches and then keyed off the wrong stitch and so on. So again, not a big deal, but it is a small. So it's not going to be a focus to finish. So like I said, I do a focus on finish piece, and then I do 4 Monopoly tokens. This is the game I've been playing the last few months. It's been really working out really well. This is my current focus on finish piece. Once this is completed, Pimmy is going to become my next focus on finish piece. And then probably the turtle is going to become my focus on finish piece, because while I would like for it to be the cafe menu, because my friend Jen and I decided we're going to do 1 cup a month, that's the schedule I'm going to stick to. So this will get done slowly over the year. And now my stretch goal is to try to finish Hoity Toity next year. I think this is not doable, especially considering all the rest of it. And the fact that, these are not the only 5 projects I'll be working on. I'll be working on Melody of the Night. I also have a few starts in mind, which I'll be getting to. But as I finish pieces, so for example, once I finish Olive, Pimmy becomes my focus piece, so then I'll need 1 more for my Monopoly tokens. Probably Melody of the Night is going to take up one of the tokens for Monopoly. And my new starts for next year, we can talk about that. Obviously, the Heaven and Earth Stitch Along. I'm also planning on starting Nightingale by Modern Folk Embroidery. I loved Fruits of Plenty so much, I want to work on another Modern Folk Embroidery. And I did not like the 2025 Stitch Along, so January I'm going to start the Heaven and Earth Stitch Along, and I've decided every other month I'll do a new start, just to kind of mix it up, and hopefully as I'm finishing pieces I'll need those new starts anyway to replace token pieces. Gamer Girl is another full coverage by Medusa Dollmaker. I'll show pictures of all these when I'm actually starting them. And then I've got a Gingerbread Village, which is a Carolyn Manning design that I'll be starting in July. September, I'll be starting High Tea, which is a Randall Spangler pattern from Heaven and Earth. And November, I was trying to do 1 full coverage and 1 non-full coverage every other month, but in November, I think I'm going to start Cosmos, which is a kit I had Heaven and Earth design put together for me back in 2021. Cosmos, did I say that? I forget the name of the artist right now. But I may have to redo that kit entirely because if I'm now converting all my full coverage pieces to over 2, I think that's an over 1. So I'll have to add more floss. There's some specialty threads in it. I think there's Krynic. There might be others. Um, and I may have to redo the fabric. I'll even have to check to see if it's there's fabric big enough to make it without having to do a custom cut. So, not sure about the November start. I'm sure I'll have found some other pattern to kit up by then. And I do have a couple other kit ups. So, those are my 2025 plans. That's the end of the. I'm going to talk about Jingle Ball now. There's nothing else really left for this video other than talking about Jingle Ball. So if you're not interested in that, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. If you are interested in my experience with Jingle Ball, this was my very first Jingle Ball. And I ended up having a lot more fun than I was anticipating. I did not sign up for any classes. I probably next year I will sign up for at least one class, but this year I just, I found out about it when it was far too late to join any or be able to get the kit in time for any of the classes, and so I figured I'd do the $10, and do all the entertainment and do some of the socializing aspects of it, and the entertainment was amazing. They did a lot of skits and things like that, and a lot of them were quite hilarious. My favorite is the security check that I think Tiny Modernist, I think she did that skit. That was hilarious. Probably my favorite of the ball. The other favorite thing I had was there was an interview with Santa, and I don't know if this was a hired actor or if it was somebody's husband or a fellow Stitcher, but this guy, my goodness, like he understood the assignment. Like my favorite thing that he said was, because it was a live broadcast, so you could type questions into chats, and a lot of participants brought their kids in, because it's a live stream with Santa. And so, oh, and I just realized this is upside down. There's my penny. Um, and so kids were asking different questions, and one of my favorite answers that he gave was, the question was, Santa, what's your favorite cookie? And he said, round ones. And eventually later, I think because there were similar questions coming in, he said, also, I like best the cookies that you bake with love. And so I thought those were pretty cute. But I mean, he had like the mechanics of like how many elves work, where do they live, how old are they, when are they considered adults, things like I mean, like he had this down, and I don't know if there's actual lore or if he was making this up on the spot or what was the situation, but I oh my god, he was really good. Oh, he was even describing like the schedule that the elves like change out the Christmas trees, refresh the wreaths. I mean, it was a lot. Anyway, so that was my favorite in terms of the entertainment. Those two pieces, and the absolute favorite part for me was the socializing. I tried the speed dating, which is essentially just you get matched up with a random person on a Zoom call, and you just chat for 5 minutes. You can extend the session if you want, and yeah, so I did that a couple of times, but really what ended up happening, and this ended up being my favorite thing, is I was hanging out in one of the stitching tables, or essentially a group. And so they had different types of groups, they were geographical location groups, they were um, based on specific interests like full coverage only, or um, um, stashing related, knitters who crochet or something like that, or crocheters who cross stitch, or I don't know. But the one I was hanging out in was first time retreat, because this is actually my first cross stitch retreat, online or in person. And so I was hanging out in there, and I really clicked with this woman, Susanna, And so we were talking about a lot of things. And so I would go into the group, and then I had to step away for work once for a few hours. It was a work event, another time, and all that. But one of the times, I think it was Saturday afternoon, I went in, and my friend Suzanne was there, and we're having a good time chatting and all that. And then there was somebody else talking. I mean, it was like maybe 15 people on the in the group, and there was somebody talking, and I was like, "Oh, that voice sounds familiar. Must be the accent, sound like one of my friends or something like that." And then I think somebody was showing off a project or something like that, and I went and zeroed in on the screen, and I recognized one of the people who had their camera on, and it was Tasha from Slappy Stitch and Sisters. And I tried to keep my cool. I don't know if I came across as though I kept my cool or not, but I felt like I did not keep my cool. I was fangirling over her, and oh my god, they're not just making that all up for, like, they're not putting on masks for the videos. Like, they are like that all the time. They're so hilarious because eventually Shay also joined much later in the night. But yeah, oh my god, we were laughing so hard. Tasha is hilarious. And uh, that just made my night. And I understand now what it's like to be in a parasocial relationship because we are now besties. Whether or not Tasha realizes that we are besties and whether or not she agrees to it, not, that's her problem. And also, sorry, my real life bestie, but you've been displaced. Um, and eventually, like I said, Shay also joined, and we had a lot of fun too. I did not get to hang out with her as much. I think the next day, on Sunday, I had to do something, so I did not join until much later. And apparently, they had just signed up. Both Shay and Tasha were there. But oh my goodness, they're hilarious. I got some insight into some vaccine things. Or not backstage things that happened in their last video, Flosstube number 6, which I think they'll talk about whenever their next Flosstube comes out. But oh my gosh, those girls are so fun. At one point, I was like, I feel like I'm gonna throw up. I've been laughing so hard, and the next day my abs were sore. So, also, Tasha, if by chance you're watching, I would just like to say I tried the jalapeno Cheetos. And based on your description, I was expecting fire and brimstone. And I mean, it's barely hotter than black pepper. What are you talking about, girl? Oh my goodness. I also suggested to them that they should add jalapeno Cheetos as a weapon in their Clue game. So anyway, all right. Well, that's all I've got for you. Once I settle into my new job, I'm really hoping that I can make videos every 2 weeks. That's a unofficial goal for 2025. We'll see if that actually happens. Definitely once a month videos, but I'm gonna really try to see if I can. And it may be like February or so because I think I'm gonna start doing some new function or performing new functions in January as compared to what I've been doing just so far, just because the holidays, all that. So anyway, I hope y'all enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.